So I just want to tell y'all now, I'm gonna have this hat on throughout the whole video, so don't judge me. Oh, howdy y'all. Today we'll be making my bacon cheeseburger sliders. I'm gonna start off with hickory smoked bacon. This is a 12-ounce package, but I'm only gonna use 6 ounces of it. And once it's nice and crisp, I'm gonna remove it from the pan and add 1 pound of 80/20 ground chuck, seasoned with the Adams Reserve Umami Bomb seasoning, exclusively found at HEB. And I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of garlic. While that's cooking, I'm gonna make a sauce, a glaze for the sliders. Mixture of Dijon mustard, salted butter, melted, a little brown sugar, and a little kosher salt. Gotta salt everything. And the slider buns are gonna be the King's Hawaiian. Slice them in half all the way through. I'm gonna add the ground chuck to it, cooked ground chuck to it. I'm gonna add the bacon bits to it. Add cheese on top of that. Put the top of the buns back on. Chop up some parsley, put it on top. Throw some sesame seeds on top. Throw it in the oven, and you'll see, it'll be good. Alrighty, I've already started the bacon. 6 ounces of bacon. I added a little extra virgin olive oil to help get it started. And I'm gonna go ahead and start the glaze as well. It's a full stick of butter, a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. You can use yellow mustard, Dijon mustard, it doesn't matter which one. Just need that little tang that it gives so this brown sugar doesn't overpower. So it's not too sweet. It has a little sweetness in there. And preheat the oven to 375. And I'll be back when this bacon is done. Okay, I'm mincing the parsley. You wanna make sure you get it minced really small because you don't want really big leaves. So the glaze is ready. I was just tasting it for y'all so I don't feed y'all anything bad. I did add that little bit of salt. So I'm keep it warm on the back burner until it's ready. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the ground chuck. Have the leftover bacon fat still in the pan. It didn't give me that much bacon fat, but it'll be okay. 1 pound in there. And gonna let this start cooking a little bit more. And then I'm gonna add the Umami Bomb seasoning and the tablespoon of minced garlic. It's gonna be really good. Get it all mixed together, and we'll be ready for the sliders. Well, it's starting to get a little brown, but it's not. It's still pretty pink. So I'll go ahead and add the garlic in there. You pay for the garlic. Get all the garlic out of there. And go ahead and get your seasoning as well. Umami Bomb. And I'm gonna keep cooking it. Let the flavor of that garlic and Umami Bomb get into that ground chuck. And like I said, the glaze is just sitting back there chilling. And just like any other stove, there's gonna be that one burner that gets hot from the oven. So it's staying warm back there even though it's not on. Only a little bit more. Even if this ground chuck stays a little pink, it is going to the oven. But I'm gonna cook it all the way because
You know me, I don't like the oven, so I'm not gonna leave it in there too long. I'll just put it in the oven to marry the flavors. This be a fun little thing, really cheap, and I'll get back with you. So you want to slice the rolls all the way through with a bread knife. You can do them individually, but just easier to have a long bread knife. And pop the cap. All right, we have the ground chuck, bacon, cheese, top part of the buns, the glaze, the parsley, and the sesame seeds. Now it's time to build it. You don't have to cut it apart like I did, but I find it easier to do it this way when you just want one. So you can, like I said earlier, you can put them in patties, or you can just do like this and just cover it all the way through. You can make one big pile and spread it out on there. If you don't break them up into each slider, it holds it better, because I'm gonna lose some of this ground beef in between the cracks. Just spread it around, make sure each slider at least has a bite. And once you spread it around, we're gonna go ahead and add our bacon. I don't know why I was doing it like that. Just spread it around so every slider has bacon. And the cheese as well. This is the Mexican blend cheese. You don't have to use this Mexican blend. You can use square cheese if you want to. It's gonna melt anyway. But I work in a grocery store. I found a lot of people like Mexican blend. So, and with that glaze, you can add a little bit here if you want to. But you don't have to. And this part, putting the buns back on, it'd have been easier if I didn't slice it, but I feel like it's gonna save me some time when it's time to eat. And the fact that I have to find which one goes to which one. Alright, all the buns do not have to look pretty. They're gonna taste good though. And you can brush it on here if you want to. When I first started making these, I did not have a brush. I just poured a little bit, but they get a little soggy if you don't brush it on there. And brushing this glaze on here is gonna help with the topping sticking, because it is a little sweet from that brown sugar. You just want to make sure every bun has at least some. And make sure they're in its place. Grab you some of that parsley. I'm only going to do half of it with parsley. So yeah, I chopped all this parsley up for nothing. But you can't go to the grocery store and say, hey, I want half a bush of parsley. And on the other half, I'm gonna put a little sesame seeds. And it's time for the oven. Don't put this in there though. And this oven is on 375, so do not burn yourself. I'm gonna leave it in there for about 5 to 10 minutes. That cheese to melt and for those flavors to marry. And I will show you the finished product. So it turned out really well. Remember me telling y'all I don't like the oven. I got distracted. It was in there for 15 minutes. It got a little crispy, but it's still really good. So you can leave it in there for a little bit longer if you want it to be crunchy. But 5 to 10 minutes would do it. Just keep an eye on it. Don't burn it. I didn't burn it, but yeah, leave it in there longer if you want it crunchy. It's really good. It's not too sweet. It has a sweetness to it, but it's not a dessert. The bacon isn't just like popping out at you, but it has that note of bacon, and it's really good. I recommend it. But I also recommend set a timer. I still haven't learned that. As always, like, share, subscribe.